Ultrakill is the newest retro-style first-person shooter from New Blood Interactive, a developer/publisher that worships the 90s and hates money. Devil May Quake is the tagline for this one, and it's a fitting one at that, as this game combines the shooting mechanics of the likes of Quake with the combo-heavy, stylish action of games like Devil May Cry, making for one of the most unique shooters to release in some time. Ultrakill just released as an early access title on Steam, which makes reviewing it a bit tricky as the game is still unfinished. However, judging from what's currently available, I think it's safe to say that if you're a first-person shooter fan, you might want to get this one in your Steam library ASAP. Hey everybody, I'm Kirk, and today I'll be taking a look at the early access build of Ultrakill, a game that likes to spell style with 3 S's. But before all that, please remember to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one covering the very best in all things boomer shooter. Alright, let's begin. In Ultrakill, you play as V1, a robot fueled by blood that must go room by room, killing wave upon wave of bloodthirsty monsters in the sickest ways possible. There's a lot of things that make Ultrakill unique. Its style-focused gameplay and retro graphics are certainly the stars of this show, but it's the game's story inspiration that really took me by surprise. At the end of the prologue chapter, which is made up of a series of rusted metal rooms and bloody traps, you come to this door with the words scribed upon it, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," and from there you battle the door's guardian, Cerberus. If you're unfamiliar, this is directly taken from the epic Italian poem, The Divine Comedy, also known as Dante's Inferno. It's a tale of 2 homies, Dante and Virgil, who take a leisurely stroll through the 9 circles of hell. They have a good time, lots of laughs. Okay, to be fair, the intro does tell you you're going to hell. I just didn't realize it was Dante Alighieri's hell, covered in cyberpunk gravy. After the prologue, you go through the deceptive green pastures of Limbo, the neon-lit Lust, and eventually the squirmy, acid-soaked halls of Gluttony. Honestly, it's a pretty inspired take on a foundational classic, and people with even a passing familiarity with it will likely pick up on the references. I think it's pretty impressive too that Ultrakill took one of the oldest tropes in first-person shooters, going to hell, and managed to create a fresh spin on it. And if you ask me, this is probably the best interpretation of Dante's epic poem in video game form. Yup. The story, though, is merely frosting on this delicious cake. Ultrakill's gameplay is some of the best I've experienced in a first-person shooter since Doom Eternal. God damn, this has been a good year for shooters. Your robot is an agile little cuss. Wall jumping and sliding, infinite sparky sliding, are 2 major tools in your toolbox that control smoother than a slip and slide covered in butter, which is good because they're the key to surviving the hordes of hell and keeping your score high. There's also a ground pound that will send nearby enemies flailing into the air, which never stops being satisfying. Speaking of satisfying, how about these weapons? Punchy. Currently, Ultrakill features only 4 weapons, which doesn't sound like much until you discover how much ass each of these deadly implements kick. All weapons currently have 2 alternate fire modes, with what appears to be 2 more still in development, which is a little mind-boggling considering how robust your current loadout feels. The pistol has a modest fire rate, but packs quite a punch. Its alternate fire includes a charged burst that brings my girl Samus to mind, and 4 tossable coins that do all sorts of fun stuff if you have the accuracy and speed to shoot them. The shotgun lives up to expectation, lousy at a distance but a monster up close. Its alt-fire is a grenade as well as a charged up Hail Mary explosion, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. It's better to use this as a last resort as it will shred a chunk of your health off. The nail gun should be called the nail Gatling gun. This lovely thing excels at turning the demons into mashed potatoes. By itself, the range is pretty average, but if you use the alt-fire, a magnetic spike that will attract the nails to it, you can more effectively take out enemies from a distance. Its other alt-fire spews out flaming nails, which is handy for many of the boss fights. More on those later. Then there's the railgun, which fires a single electric shot that can penetrate multiple enemies. However, it takes several minutes to recharge between shots, so it's best to use this one if you're in a bind. There's also your robot arm, which is your melee weapon, which with good timing can deflect enemy projectiles back at them. Yep, it's as much fun as it looks. The scoring system is lifted directly from Devil May Cry, grading your murderous performance alphabetically, D being bad to A being good, and above that S to triple S for the truly exceptional, and only the truly worthy or truly lucky can achieve the Ultrakill grade. No idea how I did that. Variety is the spice of life and the key to hitting those S grades. Always be moving, utilizing different weapons, and definitely the environment whenever possible. If you're going for perfect grades on all these maps, keep some ice packs handy. Your hands are gonna need them. The enemies of Ultrakill are an impressive display of mindless monsters, cybernetic corpses, animated statues, and good old-fashioned robots. They all will rush you relentlessly, but each enemy has their own quirks in attacking you, and of course a weakness to a particular weapon. And since the player is healed by the blood of these monsters, when in a pinch, the best defense is a good offense. There's never a boring fight in Ultrakill. Each new room is a new monster combination, a new trap, a new puzzle. You'd expect a game of this style to be procedurally generated, but wisely the developers chose to handcraft everything here, and the game benefits from it. Not only for combat, but just in giving the player fun environments to explore, jump, and swim through, with plenty of secrets to discover. And these levels look fantastic. The retro look of yesterday's shooters is recreated accurately in this game, but doesn't borrow from them in terms of its art direction. Ultrakill definitely has its own unique look. The stark, pixelated cybernetic vibe mixed with the religious imagery is very original and pulled off well here. And if you really want this game to feel authentically retro, there's a robust set of graphical options to make this game look like an old PlayStation shooter. But the soundtrack, god damn the soundtrack. I'll be honest, 30% of why I love this game so much is the music, maybe 40%. The game starts with this addicting drum and bass track that sounds unlike anything I've ever heard in a shooter, but carries the intensity needed for polygonal slaughter. But then in Limbo, the game gives you something much more chill and calming, only bringing in the beat when things start heating up. It's a bloody tapestry of marvelous music. Crank the bass on this one, guys, and New Blood, please get that soundtrack out. See that laughing skull? You're gonna be seeing him a lot. Ultrakill can be an overwhelming challenge, but the game is never cheap. Your deaths will likely be on you. Get good mentality applies here, especially when it comes to the boss fights. The boss fights in this game are great. These are not first-person shooter bosses, these are the bosses of a stylish action game, bosses you'd see in Devil May Cry. Their attacks unrelenting and at breakneck speeds, pressuring the player to be constantly mobile with consistent fire. In between the circle strafing and attack dodges, there's usually always a short window when you can stagger them. A flash of light before a major attack met with a robot fist will slice a good chunk of health off and leave them frenzied and even more dangerous. It's refreshing considering the genre tends to rely a little too much on giant bullet sponges with AoE attacks. Designers should take note. Alrighty, before we wrap up, let's go ahead and address that big early access elephant in the room. Right now, Ultrakill is available for $20 through Steam, and included is the prologue chapter along with Act 1, with Acts 2 and 3 coming in the future. Between the prologue and Act 1, there are 15 levels available to you, and believe me, you will be compelled to replay them over and over to achieve that perfect score, on top of the fact that each are loaded with well-hidden secrets. And if that's not enough, the game also features the Cyber Grind, a customizable horde mode that is easy to lose a few hours in. For me, $20 and the promise of future acts is worth the price, and the game runs great and is very polished. I ran into one real bug during gameplay when I got stuck on a loading screen, and at one point I did fall through the level geometry, which the game apologized for. However, these were rarities. Now, of course, if your prerogative is to wait and see how the full release turns out, that is totally fair. There's always a chance New Blood could totally shit the bed on the next two acts. But judging by what's here now and taking into consideration the consistent quality of the publisher, I feel no issues giving this my highest recommendation. Ultrakill is simply great, and if you're someone who has conquered all of the challenges of Doom Eternal, make this game your next conquest. And rest assured, I will be revisiting Ultrakill as its remaining content releases, so be sure to check back to this channel to hear my thoughts on those. But what do you guys think? Anybody planning on downloading Ultrakill, or are you already playing it? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Real quick, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and share with your friends. It is a huge help for this channel. Unfamiliar with New Blood's catalog? Be sure to check out my video on Dusk, a shooter I consider to be a masterpiece. I post videos every Thursday and sometimes Sundays like this one, so be sure to ring that notification bell so you are the first to see them. I'm Kirk, and thank you for watching this video. Stay safe out there.